And the reason for that is because we have FIFA coming up in town, and that is going to be a huge event. That's what everybody is expecting. So we want everything to go well. We're just trying to bring awareness to everybody that if you see something suspicious, anything that gives you those, I don't know, goosebumps or things like that, don't hesitate to notify it, okay? We're trying to bring awareness to as many people as possible because this is going to be a combined effort across all the community from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, especially here in Mansfield. You guys are going to be hosting one of the teams. I was telling Lori, we drove here on Monday, saw the construction going on. We're kind of like, oh my God, we're a little bit behind, but I know everything's going to be in pace for when the activities begin. All right, so they were talking about soft targets, and that is the main concern. When it comes down to the main attractions, everything's going to be heavily secure, but soft target meaning areas in which it is fairly accessible for somebody to do an active shooter situation or even vehicle rammings. And those are the two that are the most of concern to the area. The first Observer Plus is, like I mentioned before, meant to be disseminated among the public. In this case, Observe, Assess, and Report, I'll touch up on that in a second. If you see something, say something. And it's also a combined effort from all the community. Now, terrorism. What is the definition of terrorism based on the official government meaning of it? You can read there what it says, but the main part is the last sentence. Pretty much any act of violence against person in furtherance of political, social, ideological, or religious objectives. And we all know that those four areas are pretty dominant nowadays whenever somebody is brewing something in their minds to commit an act of terrorism or any kind of attack for that matter. Political, we know that political environment here in the U.S. is pretty volatile, to put, for lack of better words, everybody just on this side of the aisle or on this side of the aisle. If I don't know who you are, we'll talk about politics. If you don't agree with what I agree, I hate you. I don't like you, and I don't even know you. That's unfortunately the way it is. A lot of social causes, ideological people have their own agendas in which they want to impose, and that is a motivator for a terrorist attack. And also a big one is religious objectives. We know, for example, the Jewish community. As a matter of fact, right now we have the war going on. You have Israel fighting, you have Iran fighting, you have the Muslim community against Christian and things like that for that matter. So you all know what I'm talking about. So that is a big motivator. So in this case, because of the United States is also in a conflict against Iran, the incentive for somebody to come over here and commit an act of terrorism is also a big motivator in which we have to be more aware of our surroundings. These are just some cases. There are many of them, but these are two of the most significant, I will say, or meaningful in the area. I think it was last year, there was a Dallas side shooting in the Dallas building. Somebody, from a sniper from the top, they started shooting some of the ICE officers. And that's also immigration related. You can call that political. There was a Garland attack in 2015. I don't know if anybody here remembers that. But I believe they were having a contest of the Prophet Muhammad cartoon drawings and things like that. So some people got upset about it and they went try to get access into the venue, but they had security at the entrance. So the police or security who was there avoided them from coming in. So they started shooting at the police officer and things like that. And actually, those two guys that you see in the picture right there, they died on the scene trying to get access. So they are here in Texas. Texas, how we all know, especially the DFW Metroplex, is crazy. It is crazy. A lot of crazy people, a lot of people moving in from out of town. And also there's going to be a lot of outsiders coming from out of town into the Metroplex here for the next month or two. So something else to keep in mind. So how does Observe, Assess, and Reports, if you see something, say something, work? And it's pretty simple. Excuse me. So you have to be observant of your surroundings, everything that is happening around. And it is a fact that if you do the same thing, or if you have the same habits on a daily basis, and if you see anything that is out of the ordinary, that is going to stand out. You're going to say, you know what, for some reason, let's say, just to give you an example here, that Bronco right there is always parked over there, and for some reason tomorrow is not there. I see a different car or a car that I don't recognize. So that is going to be telling me something. Okay, I don't recognize that car. I wonder who that car belongs to. Uh, Anybody taking pictures of facilities, anybody asking questions about matters or topics that are really not of their concern, uh, those things we call need to know basis, especially when it comes down to a security matter. So the point is that if you observe something that we call a DLR moment, something that doesn't look right, it should give you or should trigger something in your mind to say, you know what, for some reason, whatever I'm seeing here, it just gives me a bad vibe. And based on your expertise, based on your daily habits, you need to assess that situation. You need to say, okay, I saw it today. If I see it tomorrow again, this is obviously not the norm. So you have to put the one and two together. And then at the end, what we're asking you to do is, and pass on the message, is just report it. Let somebody know about your observation. That's how preventing an attack begins, by just notifying somebody. Okay, we're not asking you to profile anybody. We're not here to profile people based on how they look. We're just profiling behavior. We're not asking you to engage with anybody aside from asking questions if you need to and things like that. But the message here is, let somebody know. Notify your supervisor. I say that this is not the environment for supervisor environment, but just notify somebody. Call law enforcement. Call somebody. Let somebody know. Hey, I saw this. To me, it looks out of the ordinary. I'm just letting you know. All right. So this is just an example, and everything that you're going to be seeing here is public information. If you want to know anything more additional about everything presented here, you can go online, look it up, and make it go off. Even inside a vehicle, with a bomb in the vehicle, just park it in an area you know it's going to be populated, a lot of people. Make it go off. Even you guys as business owners in the commerce community, if anything were to happen, God forbid, number one, it's going to be in the news. It's going to look awful. A lot of people are going to be hurt or die, which is also devastated. But also, for the business perspective, it's going to shut down the commerce. It's going to shut down the flow or the what is the word that I'm looking for? Change something. The supply chain. That's what I'm looking for. The supply chain, and it's going to affect the businesses for a period, which is going to be pretty long, and it's going to touch you in some way. Out of place. Number two, if you see anything sticking out of it, that's obviously not good. So what to do? You have to determine if the item is hidden or placed in the location. So going back to the hot, it's hidden, obvious or typical. Hidden, not necessarily hidden, but placed in an area that is not supposed to be there. Um, Obviously not there. It looks obvious to you that there is something off about it. If you feel that is off, you have that sense in you that there it's not good. Trust your instinct. Trust your instinct. Okay. And then typical is typically not there. Pretty much the same concept. Something in a place that is not supposed to be there. Take in consideration the characteristics of the bag, location, circumstances, and time of day it was found. So what not to do? Obviously, don't touch it, don't move it, don't open it, do not investigate. If you see it, assess the situation, doesn't look right, DLR moment, notify somebody ASAP. All right, let's talk a little bit about
soft targets.
soft target. Yes.
Are any of them in public spaces not required to have barricades, or will all of those be barricades?
They will all, whenever there's going to be a large concentration of people, like for example, Fair Park and here the Mansfield-area, whatever, they're going to have those fan fests, which are the main concern. They will barricade the entire perimeter. So, I mean, you're going to have to park far away. Some places they have shuttles just to bring the fans up to the middle of the event. But access for vehicles, aside from law enforcement or personnel that needs to be there, is going to be excluded. Yes. Yeah, that is a big takeaway. I mean, we have learned from incidents that have been happening in the past, unfortunately. Unfortunately, at the same time. Yeah. Anybody else?
So this is what we call a terrorist planning cycle. I'm going to go through them real quick, and then I'm going to get into them individually. But basically, you got broad target selection, intelligence and surveillance, funding, pre-planning, specific target selection, pre-attack surveillance and planning, attack rehearsal, and then attack deployment. So broad target selection. The best way to explain this, I like to use transportation because I work in the transportation industry, right? So everybody knows there's like aviation, there's bus transportation, right? So you pick a mode that would be a broad target, and basically this is what they're looking for: mass casualties, right? Spectacular images, economic impact, iconic value, ease of operation. If you guys remember like the Twin Towers, right? uh, that's an iconic image, right? Everybody can picture that in their head from back in the day. The planes flying into the tower, made headlines, things like that. So that's what they want. They want to get their name out there, some notoriety, and to obviously scare people, cause terror. Intelligence and surveillance. So obviously, pictures, video taking, surveillance, things like that of areas that could be potential soft targets or that could be exploited to achieve one of their um, goals, which could be, for example, the iconic images or economic targets, things like that, just to cause some kind of dent in the economy. And these are obviously the obvious, which would be like when they go there and actually do a rehearsal and see how people react. They're going to test the reaction of law enforcement or any kind of security present, the bystanders, right? Are they aware? Are they going to say anything? And it's just going to be kind of a mini rehearsal. It's not going to be live, so they probably won't get in trouble for it. But pre-attack surveillance and planning. So again, this is gathering information on patterns, habits, things like that. And the more information they have about the target they have, the better it is for them for planning purposes, right? And then they're going to obviously exploit and target the vulnerabilities that they find after their research. Real quick, I'm going to show a video of.
You want to skip it?
You want to skip the video?
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you a quick overview. Basically, there's an actor in Hollywood. His name's James Wood. It's public information. You can look it up. He basically witnessed that dry run or that pre-attack rehearsal to 9/11, right? And back then, security wasn't as proactive as we are nowadays. So they just kind of said, "Okay, you're crazy," And then fast forward a month later, yeah. So that happened August. So around August, and then in September, the attack happened. FBI shows up at his door and like, "Hey, I want to talk to you about that trip you took and that notification you made." But anyway, at the end of the day, they backtracked, right? They can't, instead of taking them seriously up front, they backtracked. And so, well, you can look it up. His name is James Wood, and there's an interview on that happened back in the day. But yeah, I'll skip it because it's a little lengthy. So, so then the attack rehearsal will be the next step, right? This basically validates their plan, right? They conducted the rehearsal, everything went fine. Okay, yeah, we can do it live. It may involve some or all the potential attackers. It's basically a smaller version of the attack, and it tests the reaction of first responders as well as everybody that was there to see it. Hopefully, people can pick up on that, say something so that we can stop it, right? So, and then the deployment of the attack, right? So at this point, they achieve their goal. They intimidate people. They influence. They cause panic and terror, which is their goal. So just remember, guys, you guys are out there. Hopefully, the idea of this is that you can take some of this and put it into your daily lives as well as your work life and pick up on some of these things because all it takes is disrupting one link of that cycle to potentially stop an attack, right? And that's what we're looking for. Sam talked about observe, assess, and report. Make an observation, assess, is it worth reporting? And then when you report it, just be aware of the professional environment. Make sure you have that DLR moment, something that doesn't sit right, doesn't look right. Reporting who, what, when, where, and why, right? Kind of like back in school when you're writing something, you want to get as many details as you can to provide to law enforcement or whoever you report to. But just make sure you're safe, right? Don't go play the hero, try to get more information than you can without keeping yourself safe. At the end of the day, that's the most important part, right? Be legal, just be legally there. Don't use any special equipment. Make sure you're not going out of your way to try to gather information, right? We're not private investigators. We just want to make sure we're aware and reporting things that are out of norm. In case of active shooter, the best advice we have is run, hide, or fight. Just keep in mind, run is probably going to be your safest option if you have that option. Hiding, hopefully you don't get there. But if you're in a position where you have to hide, be quiet, turn your phones off, try to find something that will provide concealment and cover, things like that. And then if you fight, just commit, because this is your last resort. If you decide to engage somebody, you're putting yourself in danger. So you really have to commit, and then, do your best to really, take that person down and keep yourself safe. In the event of a security threat or breach, just be familiar with your own responsibilities. Usually for the public, right? 911 is a great option. But people who work, if you're in a professional environment and you have like a chain of command where you report to, um, be aware of their policies, how they want you to handle it, and know how to communicate, not just with your own, but also with first responders and the public if you have to assist in any way, shape, or form. Uh, don't be apprehensive, guys. You guys are professionals. You guys do this every day. Um, just be aware and make a notification. Trust yourself, trust your gut. Worst thing that can happen, you make a notification and it ends up being nothing. But, you know, you don't want to live with something on your conscience if you know that you saw something and you could have said something. That's way worse than, oh, it was nothing, So just keep that in mind.